many times. I'm keeping Stillwater in business, in fact. What's really important for you to know is when I moved here in 2005, downtown St. Petersburg had one restaurant. How many people have been to downtown St. Pete? They got a lot more than one restaurant now. You want to know what one of the first was? Bella Brava. Bella Brava took a risk in downtown St. Pete before anything was happening. They were the second restaurant on Beach Drive. They rolled the dice. And the people that rolled the dice are two native St. Pete folks that decided they cared enough about their city to put some money into it, put their money where their mouth is. And from the very beginning, when Bella Brava started to have success, other restaurants started to move in. The number of jobs that are provided for our community because this one family took a risk and decided to do something for their town is incredible. And Don is a native Floridian. In fact, I think both Don and Chris are native Floridians, which makes that two probably of all of us in the room. Anybody else native Floridians? I'm not, yeah, very few of us, so grateful that you guys decided to stay. Don's been a controller at Bella Brava for 7 years. And in a moment, he's going to talk a little bit about why he's chosen Paychex and why he stays with Paychex. But as they continue to grow, and they have growth plans, I'm not giving anything away, am I? Okay. They're going to continue to open new restaurants. We've been very fortunate to be a part of their new openings, and we're grateful to have you here, Don. Thank you. On the far right is Chris Summers. Now, Chris is director at Bentley Global Resources. Now, Bentley Global Resources is a staffing firm that provides specialized services engineering in 37 states. Is that right? Think about this for a second. What does a staffing company do for communities that they serve? They bring top talent where it's needed so that people can stay in their communities and thrive in their communities. Businesses can open in communities. The whole notion of that type of workforce allows companies to grow with best talent without having to have everybody move to Rochester, New York. I'm not picking on Rochester, by the way, but I'm not moving to Rochester, New York. So a company like that, approaching 300 employees, enables companies to find that talent, enables them to grow, and by association, enables those communities to thrive. The last guest we have is Adam Trant. Now, Adam is a PEO relationship manager. Everyone should know what that is, right? Some of you may not know that are newer. That hasn't been a role that we've had for an awfully long time. In fact, when I think about Brian Meharry and his service team and the effort that they put forth to come up with this under the guidance of Carmela Chadamalia, when we first discussed that we were going to serve our clients through this new model, we were really excited. Those of us that have been here for a long time were fired up. But it's a hard job, and it requires a lot of dedication. And I want to thank Adam for being here today to answer some questions on our behalf as well. I will tell you, I called you and asked you a question. I said, hey, I want to ask you the first question that you want me to ask you. And as if it was written out of central casting, he said, ask me why I'm with Paychex. I was like, okay, cool, I'll ask you that. So tell us why you're with Paychex.
So with Paychex, I inherited a position at 2B Hospitality. And when I first came on, the representative that I had made everything easy. I'm not a controller, honestly. I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for dentistry. My major was microbiology. And when that payroll specialist showed me everything, it was the easiest thing ever. Doing payroll is 1% of my job. But that 1% is something that it's part of me now. I don't need to think about it. It's easy to do. Learning all those labor laws, learning everything about minimum wage, even doing just the little things about transferring employees or just even insurance. They're like, hey, we got you. And everyone that I've ever worked with, whether it was my first payroll specialist, Michelle Diamond, Adam, Victoria Holly, even my last payroll specialist that I had, Matt Bonera, they've always done everything that I needed. When it came to a question that I ever had, it was always answered. And it's not these long conversations that I'm ever gonna have. Like, it's not like, hey, I have a question, hey, I'll figure it out for you in 2 weeks. It happens within seconds. And that's pretty much the only thing I can ever say about Paychex is why Paychex is because you guys are about people. I'm in the restaurant, I'm in the business of people, and you guys take care of me. And that's all I can really say is that you guys treat me like family.
Don, thank you. So Chris, I called you and I asked you the same question. And without prompting, you said, ask me why I'm with a PEO. I'm like, I don't even need to stand up here. So Chris, tell the room, since everyone in this room is responsible for welcoming new clients to our PEO or servicing new clients on our PEO, tell us why a PEO matters so much to you.
For Bentley and for me, it's the flexibility and the team that it provides. Paychex ends up being almost a backbone for our company. We have employees in 37 states right now, but we have one office in Oldsmar where we have 25 employees. Most of that team is sales staff, recruiters that are trying to grow revenue for the company. But our businesses run leaner on the operations side so that we can continue to have a healthy business. Where Paychex steps in is they provide such a valuable resource when we're trying to bring on a new client in a new state or figure out a complex solution when dealing with human resources or making sure that we're making the right move when it comes to payroll taxes, new policies that are always coming our way, being able to stay on top of that. It's just comforting to have a strong resource like Paychex behind you so that you don't really have to spend 2 weeks thinking about if you should make this move to try and make the sale. You have a little more of a confidence when you execute a deal that you're gonna have some support behind you that can help you figure out how to get it done. As far back as when it was Oasis, 10 years, and the team has always been fantastic, having the silos of someone dedicated to payroll, someone dedicated to benefits, and then even the relationship manager, Julie, that we work with, that can step in and get us to the right contact. If the person that we don't work with on a day-to-day basis doesn't have the answer, it's just, it helps keep things moving and our business process fluid, so it's always helpful.
But Chris, I want to follow up on really what you were talking about relative to making things easy, being competitive. Being in 37 states obviously speaks for itself. When you talk as an executive team about the company, like what is it? I imagine the staffing is very, very competitive. Like getting people to want to go through you, people to work with your organization. What is it about your relationship with Paychex that enables you to attract great people?
So we have, I think one thing that keeps our business with a great reputation is we pay on time. That's very important. A lot of our temporary employees, they're engineers, they're traveling, they're going and staying in a hotel, out in Iowa or Minnesota, and they're away from their families. So we change things on employees. We change things on Paychex a lot. Someone may started out there working remotely, and then they're in Iowa, and then they're in Minnesota. And Paychex is able to change their taxes so they're paid correctly. They can get their direct deposit to them. We submit time cards late and have to change payroll. Like the flexibility that Paychex provides keeps our employees happy, which then turns into referral business for us. If someone hasn't worked with a staffing agency before, they have a lot of pretenses that maybe they had a bad experience with someone else, and Paychex helps us with building our reputation just by the product that they assist us with delivering.
Yeah, I imagine.
Complicated.
Yeah. Do I know that? Don, what about you? Same question with the employees, because I mean, it's funny that you and I were talking, and you said you grew up in the restaurant business to a certain extent. I did too. I started working in restaurants when I was 14. I mean, you want to talk about a transient business for employees? Like they can get mad at one manager and just walk across the street. I mean, there's like 100 restaurants in St. Pete. And as many times as I've gone to Stillwater, I keep mentioning that many times, giving myself away. But you know, I've seen a lot of the same faces. I've seen a lot of the same people working there for a while. How do we help you maintain that type of environment and culture for your employees?
So it's just the reliability of paychecks. Just anybody that ever needs to log on, they need to get a pay stub for if they're buying a car, or if they need to look for benefits for, let's say, hey, I'm going to a hotel, I'm going to get a deal on, was it Work Advantage?
Yeah. Working event.
And they can find insurance on there. They can, I think you guys have 401k, I believe.
Yep.
Offered through the PEO. And it's just a lot of these things where they can go to one place and rely on getting all the information that they ever need. And that is something that we care about for our own restaurant. And is that that's to always care about the employee. And I know that we're in the business of restaurants where we're supposed to be guest forward, but if we had no employees, we wouldn't have a restaurant. We wouldn't have these faces that would serve you all the time. And you're like, hey, I know that person. Hey, they know me. They know exactly what I like to drink. They know my first appetizer that I always order when I first come in here. These are the ones that drive Bella Brava and Stillwaters. Wouldn't have Bella Brava and Stillwaters if I didn't have these employees that, you know, they wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning just to open up the restaurant, and you know, they're always wondering, hey, how can we help? There's a hurricane coming. How can we help make sure that this place is still running when, you know, after the hurricane hits? Even for stuff like that, just the reliability. I remember there's a time when the hurricane hit was, you guys were going to close on a Wednesday and Thursday, and my payroll and my checks get delivered on Thursday. So I call Adam and I say, hey, is there a way that I can send these paychecks to my home in Sarasota? I know it's kind of weird. I don't know if that's possible. He's like, yeah, that's okay. Just because Sarasota was not going to get hit by this hurricane. So having that reliability where I was like, I know these people are going to get paid. Everything's closed down. They're not going to have hours. They need this money to survive next week. I have these checks. I have these ACHs where they're going to get paid. They're going to be okay. And just the employees, it's just, everything's about the employees, and paychecks helps that.
17 years, you started as a payroll specialist, you got into this role when I think you were one of the first relationship managers that we had.
In the PU,
Yeah, if you don't mind my asking, like, what drew you to the role first and foremost?
So I've, like Bill said, I've been with Paychex since 2005. Started as a payroll specialist, worked my way through the Chicago office pretty quick, up to supervisor. And I was in leadership for about 6 years in Chicago, then here in Tampa. As a supervisor, you deal with clients, but not at the same level, right? You have more responsibilities for your employees that work for you. And when the relationship manager position came along, that appealed to me because I get to work more closely with clients again, but then I also still have a chance to be a leader. And that role as a leader is very different because I went from being a supervisor with people that report to me to then using my leadership abilities to influence other people outside of just the PEO and the people that I managed. So it was a challenge that I wanted to take on. And I really fell in love with the role once I started doing it. The relationship manager role is very difficult, but the level of interaction that I get to have with my clients was the best that I've had since I've started working at Paychex. I would say Don and I, we talk all the time. He'll call me, he knows I'm gonna pick up my phone, and I mean, we talk business, and then we don't talk business, you know, and then it's like, oh gosh, Don, I got a call. I gotta get on a meeting, I'll talk to you later. So that's really the reason why I've been in the relationship manager role and have stuck with it now for, it'll be 6 years that we rolled out the PEO relationship manager program. Yeah, sure. So specifically with Don, they're in a growth mode right now. They just opened their newest location in December up in Land O'Lakes. It's another Bella Brava. And with the restaurant industry and with them building a brand new construction, we knew about Bella Brava Bexley for a long time. But we never knew when is it gonna open, based on construction delays, based on his staffing needs, and when you're opening a new ID in the PEO, there's a very specific timeline for when you get the account set up, when you're adding employees, things like that. So it was a very fluid situation, and it was just a lot of communication as to, okay, where are we at? When are we gonna start hiring employees? And then when Don said it was go time, we got everyone ready to go and got them ramped up and, ready to open in December.
Adam, sometimes our clients face challenges. Sometimes they face challenges that are maybe we make a small mistake. To what extent are you engaged with on other clients to really be that first level of resource for them when they're experiencing a frustration? Because let's face it, we're in the perfection business, and the perfection is impossible.
Right.
Sometimes our clients are going to make a mistake on their payroll. Sometimes we're going to make a mistake. I've always said we're defined by how we fix things in our pursuit of perfection. Talk to me a little bit about some circumstances where you've had to deal with that.
So, Don.
I'm making this really uncomfortable.
No. So Don called me the other day, and he said, "Hey, I think my admin fees are wrong for Bexley." And I said, "Okay." I go, "Well, what does it look like?" He goes, "I think I'm being overcharged." And Don's accounts are set up because he's restaurant industry, and he has a lot of employees that'll work, but then they don't work. So he's set up on paid billing. So that means he only gets charged for the checks he cuts. And he was set up on active billing for Bexley. And so active billing means every employee that's in the system, he's getting charged for. So he was getting overbilled since Bexley had been set up. So he called me and he said, what can we do? And I said, I'm gonna take care of this, don't worry about it. So got off the phone with Don, immediately went into the system, verified, yes, it was set up incorrectly. Went into the system, calculated every payroll, every admin fee for every payroll he was overcharged, to come up with a dollar amount.
He did this on Friday at 8 o'clock at night. I was like, what are you doing?
And so once we figured it out, I called my manager and I said, this is what's going on. This is what we owe him. We need to make it right. She said, okay. We got all the approvals we needed and we were able to get it taken care of. So I think you were happy with the outcome?
Yeah, we're not perfect, but you're always there for me.
Yeah.
Mentioned, as with many staffing companies, there's growth, right? And when you first started with Oasis, you were far smaller. I'm imagining growth is still in the future.
Growth is still in the future. When we started with Oasis, we had 40 employees, contract employees, and 5 in the office. So 10 years later, we're crossing over 300 on every payroll. For temporary employees, we're under construction on a new office right now in Oldsmar as well to try and expand our business. And we will definitely try and give Paychex as much heads up as possible when we are starting to fill those seats. But the relationship
That's me.
that was okay. We're confident of having Paychex with our back that we'll be able to continue making these steps forward. It's a challenging market right now with us, but I think for everyone with staffing. So we're going step by step, but things are in a great position currently. We have big agenda right now. We're shopping through open enrollment. We were one of the customers affected by Humana's plan to stop writing business coverage, so we haven't had the opportunity to be on the Paychex master plan in a few years because of our participation levels, but we're going through the process now, and yeah, that's another area that really helps our company. We have one person that is dedicated to onboarding new employees. She is able to onboard in a good month between 30 and 40 new hires, which means leaning on Paychex to help with all of their benefits set up, making sure they're all there. Important aspects of what an employee wants to see when they start off with a company are set up correctly, and that's always a major win for us as well.
It's with us in this room is the extent to which we provide you support that doesn't necessarily need or require you to build infrastructure internally to do all the things you might have to do otherwise. Has that been one of the reasons why you stay with PEO?
That's a major reason. One of the executive of our company has had a lot of health issues over the past year. She has 17 years of internal knowledge on how these business operations work. And at one point, prior to having, when it was a very small company, prior to having a PEO relationship, she used to handle all of these aspects individually. So not having her to lean on, but having Paychex there was extremely beneficial to us. Instead of bothering someone, they're trying to recover. We have Paychex to bother, basically. Coming from being, sitting in our office for 17 years, it's because of the experts that you provide with the service.
Leadership manager role is the extent to which you're part of the growth plans. So, like you said, when something is in the process. You talk about the frequency of connect. What is often your agenda, other than Don telling you that we need to drive his checks to Sarasota? What is your agenda when you get on calls, periodic calls with your client?
So we have monthly external calls with our clients.
Okay.
And we have an action plan that we keep for all our clients. And so most of our call is, we start with the action plan. What open items do we have? Where are we at with each item? And then in every call, we have, we talk to the client about, so what's coming up? What do you need from us? So that we can, add maybe more action items to that plan, and just so we know where we're going to be for this next month, the next 6 months. And then we also have quarterly check-ins with decision makers to ensure that we're meeting their expectations and just following up with those decision makers to know what their plan is, going forward. And then we also have a strategic business review, which is basically an annual look back of a client's, Paychex experience in the last 12 months. So we go over things that we've accomplished, and again, what we're working on. But then we also ask the client, what are you looking to do in the next 12 to 24 months? So we can really get an idea of where a client is going and what their plans are in the future.
I want everybody to
Proactively, we already know we can do it, and we have. At this point, there's no state we can't confidently just put someone to work in, and know that with Paychex's assistance, we can get them paid correctly. So that's always a great sales point for any of our customers. A lot of the business that we focus on is expanding within an internal customer, and they'll come to us where an agency that they've worked with in the past doesn't have the ability to fill the position a one-off state just because they're not equipped and ready to. So we just say yes and hope everything can be pulled together together, so, and, you know, we can say with confidence, so.
If you ever open, you know, one of the most popular and well-known restaurants in all of St. Petersburg and soon to be around Florida. This is a room full of salespeople, so I'm sure some people come knocking on your door occasionally, maybe a phone call or seven. What do you tell them when they say, why, you know, consider coming to us, consider leaving Paychex? What do you tell them?
Oh.
Don't call me anymore?
Usually, I was like, hey, I already have, honestly, I'm slightly rude about it sometimes. And I just say, I'm part of Paychex, and if I needed you, I would seek you. But there's no scenario where I've ever needed to seek any other payroll out there. I've had Toast call me, and Toast is my POS system, and they say, hey, we have Toast payroll. It's great because, you know, all your employees clock in under Toast, and it'll import into the payroll super fast. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I don't.
Do you have an Adam?
Yeah, do you have an Adam? No. It's just, I've also had ADP. We used to have ADP, and I think their first payroll that we ever had with them, they double paid all our employees. So we switched to Paychex, and we never looked back.
I hate to say it, but thank God they screwed up.
Yeah, they screwed up.
So, I'll let anybody raise their hand that wants to go first. You know, being a part of the business that you're in, hopefully in some small part of the support we provide you to be able to do what you do. Would you mind sharing really why you do what you do?
I like the competition. I kind of fell into staffing out of college in I don't know what I want to do kind of mode of my life, and it just happened. Liked it a lot, and then learned that it has a lot of career potential. And then as I was in the field, I learned more about the competitiveness of the industry, and just wanted to try and see if we could be better and focus in on a highly specialized segment that not a lot of other agencies were going after, and learn the skill sets in the industry, and try and become partners with some leading edge companies. And I have no engineering ability at all myself, but we always learn something every day from these really bright people that are making medical devices and laser systems that go onto a fighter jet. And so you kind of get the feel that you're involved in something a little bit bigger than just emailing and calling. So yeah, it's just rewarding when you find someone for a client that's been trying to find a person who's been out for a year.
If I'm not mistaken, you have a picture of a space shuttle on your website, which is kind of a big deal. And I love that you shared that, because in our partnership with our clients, guys, let's make sure this resonates with us. The extent to which we support these businesses and help them thrive is about everything that we do. But when you're thinking about being competitive, can we properly articulate that? I hope everyone in the room can sort of take that to heart and have discussions around it. Are we able to properly articulate the difference that we make in a business's growth plans and in their ability to attract and retain the very best talent? Industries like yours, in engineering, are incredibly competitive. So the extent to which we can provide a pathway for them to expand at the speed they want to, and do so in a manner that brings in new employees from referrals. I mean, we all know this, one of the best sources of new hires is referrals from happy employees. So when we can give him the power, Chris the power, and his company the power to be able to evangelize what they do as an organization and support and partnership with us is a huge deal. Don, what about the bug? And I get it. And I think, how many people in here have worked in restaurants? In there?
Wow.
Okay, for the rest of you, you don't get a nap. Just kidding. I've always said that you gotta spend at least a week working the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Denny shift before I'll talk to you. Anyway, back to you, Don.
So I had mentioned that in my college days, my major was microbiology. I have a second degree in psychology, and right now I don't do anything with those degrees. But I don't regret it. I always tell this to everybody because a lot of my employees come up to me and they say, "What did you go to school for?" And I said, "Microbiology." I can do lab rats, I can do cultures, you name it. I can do all that. But throughout my whole life, I always worked in restaurants. I was a busser, I was a manager, I was a sushi chef, I was a server. I worked in many different types of restaurants. And it was just that part of me where I was at a crossroads in my life where I said, am I gonna be in restaurants or am I gonna do teeth? And it wasn't really fun to do teeth, but you made a lot of money. But a lot of my friends were in the restaurant business, and my boss now was in my past life. We used to work for a restaurant group called Stoner Grill and Tavern. And we learned a lot of things there, just how to be corporate, how to do things the right way, food cost, employee management, stress management, all that. And it was just one day I was in dental school and he said, "Hey, I'm not happy. Do you have a job for me?" He had just moved over to Tui Hospitality. He took a job with Bella Brava and Stillwater's Tavern to be the regional manager, or just the director of operations, I guess. And so he asked me, he's like, "Are you sure you wanna come on with me and build this up with me?" I said yes. And so I left LeCom at the time. And I took a job with him, just doing all the financials. I've never done it before. Done all the financials, payroll, and you guys made that easy for me. And doing all the menu stuff, all the POS integrations, all the programming for the menus, menu costing. I learned it all because a lot of the processes that you guys had for me, it just made my job easier. And till this day, I don't look back. It's just because I'm in the restaurant business. We're in the business of people, and just being able to see what we've built with my boss and I always tell him all the time, we're just two idiots that don't know what we're doing. But apparently we do. So it's just navigating through ERTC, you guys helped me with that. I didn't PPP, I have no clue. It was during a time when we thought the whole world was gonna shut down. But Paychex was there, you're like, hey, my payroll specialist at the time, Michelle, she's like, hey, let me help you. Let me help you with this report so you can send it out to the SBA. Let me help you with this, let me help you with this. No, you shouldn't do this. Legally, I can't tell you this, but you should ask this person for that information. And just, you guys helped me with everything. I never look back to being a dentist. I always say I'm the controller of Dewey Hospitality. And it's probably the best job I've ever had.
Been here.
So I went to school, I got a degree in business management. So I guess, the role I'm in now, what I learned in college is pretty transferable. But when I got out of school, I tried sales for 3 weeks and I said, this isn't for me. So I applaud all of it. Then I went to work in retail, and retail is just, retail wasn't for me. I did it for 4 years. And I'm still ashamed to talk about where I worked at. So, but then I found it, actually it was funny. One of my employees told me her mother was a headhunter. And so I talked to her mom, and she called me one day. She goes, I got this great opportunity. It's with Paychex. And I'm like, what's Paychex? And she goes, it's a payroll company. And she goes, they're looking for payroll specialists. And I said, okay, I'm not happy. I'm gonna give it a shot. I figured I can learn something new. I went on Paychex's website and I saw how long Paychex had been around, and I'm like, okay, this is a good company, established company. And this was back in 2005, and I was at the Chicago branch back when we had all the different branches. My first interview was on Halloween, and I was interviewed by a pirate and a vampire. Actually, J.R. Espino, the guy in the picture, he was the vampire. And I was like, this is crazy. Like my first interview, and it's Halloween, and like the whole office was all done up, everyone was having a good time. And I was like, this looks like it's gonna be a fun place to work at. You know, so I got hired on and then just started working there. Some of my closest friends are Paychex employees. Even still to this day, the Chicago office has been, you know, shut down. But I still talk to my Chicago Paychex friends all the time. A lot of us moved down here. I think there are about 12 Paychex employees from Chicago that moved down here. And we still get together all the time. So really just the culture is what, you know, kept me here at Paychex. It's actually going 19 years in November. And then just, I think I've been able to learn so much, and I still feel like I'm challenged every day, and I learn something new pretty much every day still. Even after all the positions I've held, I've been, you know, in core payroll, I was in MMS, which was an older software for our larger clients that is now the MPSC. And then I knew nothing about the PEO when I came to Florida. I was a supervisor in the RSC on the first floor. And I've learned so much just about the PEO and how much the PEO does to help clients, like these guys on the stage. The things that we can do in the PEO, I didn't know we could do before. And just I see how much it helps our clients grow, it helps our clients retain employees, just by all the products and services that we offer, and just by all the dedicated people that work in the PEO. It's just been a great experience.